At the end of the Tokugawa period, you have Meiji given back power to be able to unite his country in what is known as the Meiji Restoration. Why is this period so important? Well, let me tell you. How was it so influential in Japan? First, you have peasant soldiers now formed along the lines of the Prussian army, given training to turn them into a new army, giving back national pride, as you would call it, to the Japanese people. They haven't felt it in a very long time. Now with these soldiers comes the first war Japan has to fight as a modern nation against China, which is known as the Japanese Sino War. It would not only be the first, but there would be another one to follow. Between 1894 and 1895, Japan and China fought. Well, the outcome of that was Japan won. But this new victory gave a deeper pride in the National Army and in information. Next came the dispute over some islands off the coast of Russia. Russia had been a world power and an economic powerhouse for a while. But they were in for a rude awakening, as Japan had a modern navy and a modern army. With this modern army, Japan was able to overcome Russia and to overcome the navy of Russia and win the disputed territories. Going from that, Japan occupied the Korean Peninsula and Manchuria, China. With this occupation, gave rise to Japan as a world power. And as a world power, the West could not turn its back on them anymore. They now had to pay attention to a nation that they considered backwards 20, 30 years back. Rapid industrialization, modernization by Emperor Meiji gave way to this. With this came the economic sector, which Meiji hoped to reform, which he did. Japan began to export exponentially and import the raw materials it needed to build its industrial powerhouse and military powerhouse. With this gave rise to the corporations and the families that owned them, known as zaibatsus. And in the world today, in Japan, zaibatsus run everything. Now you may be asking yourself, why is this so important? Why do I need to know this? Because without knowing the military victories that Japan had and the economy, you would not have a nation. With this nation, Japan now mixed the traditions of old and new. For to be a strong nation and to have the pride that they do, you cannot mix old and new, but you have to. Given this tradition gave rise to a rich government and a rich nation, which the Japanese people still are today. So, with this, as the person, Emperor Meiji, who played Emperor Meiji in The Last Emperor, I said, he had a dream of a unified country. He has that now. He had railroads and Western implements, which armed his people. With the Meiji period, Japan went from what some might refer to as a backwards country to a modern, strong, independent nation. Like I said, a culture that mixes the old and the new, giving it a rich, rich culture. Imagine now that you are Japanese. You see all that your people have done, giving you a national pride you have not felt in a long time. And your friends from the West, now that their job is done, depart. And you say to them, Domo arigato, sayonara. Goodbye and thank you, my friend. And they sail on the ship back to the West. With this, you now have Japan, a strong, unified country. What will you do next?